So this is going to be my review of Marvel Knight's Spider-Man. Now, this is written by Mark Millar, with artwork by Terry Dodson, and also by I can't remember the other artist's name. It's Adam Cho, I think the other artist's name is, but it's mostly Mark Millar and Terry Dodson. I actually borrowed this from my good friend, Craig, aka C-Dubs from, Comic Universe, which, if you haven't subscribed already, I'll leave a link in the comments below. The description box below, so you guys can, check out the other channel for yourselves. And, give it a like, share, and subscribe. Really trying to get that channel out there more and more. So, yeah. But I figured, you know what? This was kind of a fun comic. I might as well review Marvel Knight's Spider-Man, and who knows, maybe we'll review it over at Comic Universe. So Marvel Knight's Spider-Man, if you guys don't know, this is the comic where Aunt May is abducted after Spider-Man beats down and imprisons Norman Osborn, which he had done multiple times before. But Marvel Knights was the weird thing about Marvel Knights is that it's kind of like, well, it's only in continuity if it's good. That was kind of the thing with Marvel Knights comics, was that it's only in canon if it's good. If it's not, it was its own thing. And that's how it kind of worked. That was the same thing with Guardian Devil from Kevin Smith. That was for a lot of comics. But yeah, so this is pretty much a 12-part comic where Peter is searching for the person who's kidnapped Aunt May and who knows his secret identity, while along the way getting into all kinds of spider chicanery. Or spider-nanigans. I don't know. So, what did I think of this comic? Now, rereading it, it's decent. It's pretty decent. Mark Millar, I kind of wish I know Mark Millar is a very hit-and-miss writer, and I do mean even more than, Bendis, I would say. But Millar, I will give him credit that he actually knows how to write, he actually knows how to weave a good story. Weave as in web. Pun. Unintentional pun. And for 12 issues, this isn't half bad. I will admit that there are some moments where I'm like, ugh, this is kind of dumb, or can we just hurry it along? Because honestly, this comic, if you really cut out some of the fat, could have been finished. This could have been an 8-part story at max, rather than a 12-part story, because there are some moments in here that made me go, alright, can we hurry it along here? This didn't need to be 12 issues. But, yeah, it gives you everything you want about a Spider-Man comic. It gives you all the major villains, it gives you, some great... And keep in mind, this is when, Peter and MJ are married. And I'll give Millar this. He actually really knows how to write Peter and MJ. Seriously. This dude knows how to write a relationship, which is odd because in his Ultimate X-Men run, he wrote Wolverine like a douche. Well, we all know Wolverine's a douchebag, but he was a real douchebag in his Ultimate X-Men run. And it's kind of odd because, yeah, although admittedly, looking back, there is some cool stuff between Jean and Scott in Ultimate X-Men, and some other but yeah, he really knows how to write Spider-Man and Mary Jane. Also, I would have loved to see more of Spider-Man as a high school teacher. Yeah, this was a time period where Peter was a teacher, and I always thought that was kind of cool. Even more, I know we all like Peter as a photographer and all that, but honestly, a photographer can only get you so far in the can only get you so far in the world. And I know the educational system is not great, but I always felt like that would be a logical step for Peter, to be at least a college professor, because high school, there's a whole other standard. I honestly think, rather than, Dan Slott making him a I know that was Superior Spider-Man that really got him into it, but yeah, him trying to take over what, Octavius made in Superior, that whole Parker Industries kind of thing, I honestly think that, yeah, Peter would be better off at, teaching a college or something. That way he can make time for his own classes, as well as, have time for Spider-Man. Yeah, but having him as a high school teacher, that's pretty fun, too. The action sequences are really good. Millar really knows how to write Mark Millar really knows how to write a, action sequence, because there are some bloody fights in here. The moment you see the first fight between, Peter and Osborn and Norman in here as Spider-Man and Green Goblin, it's vicious. Like, they only get, like, even more, like, you can feel all the punches in every hit. Terry Dotson's artwork's really good. It makes you feel the impact of each punch, in a way. Like, you really feel like this is some bone-breaking shit that's going on in this comic. There's also some really great fights in here, like when Spider-Man's fighting the Sinister 12. Yes, there's a Sinister 12 in here. There's also some great subplots in here, like Spider-Man hunting Electro and Vulture after they had stolen some money from the Owl. But there's also some points where I'm like, okay, Millar, back it up. Like, yes, this is the comic where Eddie Brock kills himself after selling the symbiote, and the symbiote eventually finds its way to Mac Gargan, who, for the longest time, is Venom for quite a while. And it's only been recent that Eddie Brock's been back to being Venom. So, yeah. This comic is, this is where that comes from. And, yeah. Did we really need that? Also, did we, there's also some other points, like the Avengers being a dick to Spider-Man, and he's like, look, you gotta help me find my aunt, and he's like, and they're all like, why don't you just reveal your secret identity? Captain America's like, I'm totally fine with it, but Peter's like, all your friends are dead, and all your other friends are super friends. Tony Stark can reveal his identity, because he's a frickin', billionaire, and at this point, the director of S.H.I.E.L.D., so he doesn't need to do that. And yeah, the X-Men are the only ones willing to help. But yeah, the Avengers are kind of written like assholes, and they're like, are you trying to insult us? And Peter's all like, seriously? Are you kidding me? Good luck in Avengers Disassembled, which is going to happen in just a few short months. All your fault, by the way, Wanda. Anyway. So, what else was there? What else? Like, there's so much in here in this comic that I can really deconstruct. There's also, like I said, there's some slow-mo moments in here, like Peter trying to help a guy fix a car, and a few other conversations that just seem to go in nowhere. But there's also some really nice conversation pieces, like Spider-Man and MJ talking about how to pay their bills, while at the same time, she understands that Peter's, like, about to snap at any seconds because he's still, Aunt May's still missing, and someone knows his identity and could come after him and his wife at any time. That's actually really cool. There's also my favorite costume of the Vultures in here, the black and red costume, which I thought was really pretty freaking cool. I really dig a lot of the Millar costumes in here. Like Electro's costume. I know it shows classic in here, the kind of armored look, and I'm surprised, like, when you did the hopefully they'll maybe do this in the MCU when they eventually bring in Norman in here, but I'm kind of hoping they use this version of the costume for the Green Goblin. I'm really hoping they use this version where it's kind of armored, but it still looks like a costume. That's what I'm really hoping for, is it's something akin to that. Because I really dig a lot of the costumes for Spider-Man's villains in here. Gargan in here is interesting as Venom. Although it's kind of like, it's cool now, but it's gonna just get a lot more annoying throughout throughout the years. But here it's kind of interesting because this is a time period when he wasn't the Scorpion anymore. So, anyway, yeah, there's just so much to unpack with this comic. It's a 12-issue maxi series. There's a lot to talk about here, but I don't want to drag this out too long. All the villains in here, like Shocker, Hydro Man, there's so much in this comic in here where there's some points where it's kind of like some of the dialogue in here and some scenes are like, all right, move the car, all right, move it along, Millar. We gotta keep going. But there are other times where there's conversations that actually mean something. Like, again, a lot of the stuff between Peter and MJ in here are, really meaningful. They're really like, yeah, this is a relationship this feels like an actual couple, as opposed to people who wanted this relationship gone. Looking at you, Quesada. I'm not bitter about... Oh, no, we're not bitter about that at all, are we? I say with sarcasm. Anywho, but Yeah, there's also, like, a lot of points in here, like I said. There's also some cool moments in here, like Vulture finding out he has a grandson who has leukemia, and he stole a lot of money, the Owl's money, alongside Electro to help pay for it. Which is kind of cool. Like, I don't know if they've used that character since, but I'd like to see, Adrian Toombs' grandson come back in the like, I would really like to see him come back in the comics as as a little older, because, it just seems like there's a cool potential there to have the Vulture being, because he's always, in here, Peter meets Adrian's daughter-in-law, ex-daughter-in-law, and she tells him, yeah, you have a grandson who's dying, and Adrian's like, you know what, I did some dumb shit, but I'm gonna save this kid. This kid's going to be a whole new lease for me. So I thought that's really neat, and hopefully, I don't know, again, I don't know if Slott or anyone else used that character since, but yeah, I would like to see it. I mean, yeah, the kid had leukemia, but by the end of it, it's kind of hinted that he was treated for it. But I'd like to see that kid come back. Maybe I smell a new Young Avenger. Just say, or champion. Just saying. Grandson of the Vulture, Vulture Jr. Come on, that is easily great. That is some great material right there. Anyway. This is a comic that's very, like, mixed. Marvel. I understand that Marvel Knights Spider-Man is a very mixed bag for some people. Like, again, if you're a major Eddie Brock fan, you're going to get pissed off. Also, there's a thing with Electro where it's hinted at he's gay, which doesn't bother me, because no one really established Max's sexuality in comics, and in fact, in Spectacular Spider-Man, Greg Weisman actually confirmed he was gay in the cartoon, so I'm pretty sure, and again, this came out shortly before Spectacular Spider-Man became a series, so I have a feeling that this is where Weisman probably got the idea to do that. So I didn't really mind that they kind of insinuate that, Electro's gay. I didn't have a problem with that, because again, they've never really established his sexuality, and if anything, he's more bi than anything else. They kind of say that he's more bi than anything else. So, I'm cool with it. But again, I understand that this is not this comic is not a bag. This comic isn't everyone's bag. So everyone, take heed. And also, this is kind of a long read. Like I said, it's a 12-part miniseries. There's some. I also forgot to mention the stuff with Black Cat in here. Which is also a lot of fun, because she's pretty much like, yeah, Peter, you're my ex, but now, I gotta watch your back. If anything, with all the shit that happened in Slott's run and what they continue to do with Spider-Man, this makes me feel nostalgic, if anything else. That's probably why I kind of dug this a little more than when I first read it. Rereading it, I was kind of like, man, this is kind of good. Makes me forget about all the shit with making Black Cat some kind of pseudo-villain, and doing all the crazy shit with Peter Parker. This makes me, I want more of this! And again, it's not all the way great, and it's a mixed bag in some places, but I don't want to waste your time. It's more of a acquired taste, because again, this comic could have been finished in 8 parts rather than 12, because there are some points in here where I'm like, okay, you could have cut the stuff with, Peter trying, Spider-Man helping a dude change a car, fix a car, or some surgeons talking about Peter, and whether or not they should reveal his identity after he got beat down by Electro, all that stuff. Anyway, so, all in all, it's a pretty fun comic. If you still feel raw about a lot of the stuff that Slott did, and I don't hate Slott, it's just that he's been on there a little too long, and if you miss the Peter Parker and MJ marriage, and want to read something that feels like a little darker twist, on Spider-Man, but yet it still feels like, a Spider-Man comic, I'd say give this a shot, It's a lot of fun. The trade is a little expensive, a little over $30, but, like I said, I just borrowed it from a friend, so maybe you can find it cheaper online. But anyway, you guys tell me in the comments below, what did you guys think of Marvel Knights Spider-Man? Did you guys like it? Did you guys hate it? Comment below, let me know, and once again, hope you all enjoyed this, and I'm out.